لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله وخيرا وأعظم أجرا واستغفروا الله إن الله غفور رحيم. Let us all recite Durood Shareef. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Moulana Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina wa Moulana Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم أما بعد. Ulama Kiram, respected elders and brothers and our mothers and sisters and all who are listening on the receivers and the audio streaming. We are discussing various anecdotes and incidents from that masterpiece of admonition and advice, the Mathnavi Shareef of the great master Jalaluddin Rumi rahmatullahi alayh. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had blessed him with immense knowledge, and with the knowledge great piety and righteousness. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a heart that was burning in ishq and love and muhabbat and ma'rifat. So he shares these jewels of ma'rifat and muhabbat with the ummat in this famous book of his, the Mathnavi Maulai Rum. So last week we started off the discussion with one story, one incident or anecdote relating to a parrot. And from that discussion, the topic digressed a little bit and we went into discussing that many a times a person goes sightseeing and all of these, and then amongst the things that a person enjoys is the qudrat of Allah, and in that is the birds, the world of the birds. So these parrots are also amazing makhluk and creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First of all, their ability, the rare ability from all the other animals that they are able to imitate to a very great extent the speech of human beings. To such an extent that some people even keep the parrot's name Zakir, because the parrot makes zikr. So the parrot's name is kept Zakir. And mashallah, because the people in the house make zikrullah, so then that parrot also learns the wording of the zikrullah, and parrot reads clearly the kalima sharif. You hear some homes, because the kalima is recited frequently, so the parrot learns the wording of the kalima. And as if the parrot became Musalman now, the parrot can read the kalima very fluently, and people are amazed and astounded by the ability of the parrot, that it actually makes the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is a reflection of the home in which that parrot is kept. Those are the people who love the zikr of Allah, who enjoy the zikr of Allah. So they make the zikr of Allah, and the parrot learned from them the zikr of Allah. Allah Ta'ala forbid, there are some homes in which the parrots have learned some worse, very bad things. Very, very evil things. They have learned vulgar language. And the owners are very proud of how the parrot has learned swear words. So that is also a reflection of the owners of that house, what is their way of life, and as a result of which even the animals around them have become influenced negatively by that which they portray or reflect in that home. And here we find that home in which the zikr of Allah is made, even the animals are affected positively by that zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the parrot also makes the zikr of Allah, Allah, and La ilaha illallah. Now at that point we can reflect also on this one reality, that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given parrots that ability, that they are influenced by the words of their owners and they can imitate that, what about the children in the house? What about those children, masoom children? Are they not much more superior to all the makhluk and creation, ashraful makhlukat, superior to every kind of parrot that you can find? And are they not going to be influenced by what is spoken in the house and what words are used there? Imagine that home in which zikr takes place. Those little children are exposed to the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So will they not grow up with the name of Allah on their tongue? And those homes, Allah forbid, where they use bad languages and so on, would those children not grow up with those kind of words on their tongue? And sadly, there are some parents who are actually proud of the fact that their children know so many swear words and they can swear so rudely. They actually are proud of that. وَلَا حَوْلَ وَلَا قُوَّةَ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. So nevertheless, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given these parrots amazing capability. They are able to imitate speech. They can make all kinds of sounds. You find them in such varieties in different continents of the world. What amazing colors. Like I mentioned last week, as if the color palette, all the variety of colors. Man has the ability of producing something like 16 million colors, different colors through his technology. By mixing different types of colors, maximum the man can go to now is about 16 million varieties of shades of colors. But where can that compare with the shades of colors of Allah Rabbul Izzat? Where did man even learn that ability of mixing those colors? If it was not for that mind and brain Allah gave him, and it is through that very grey mind, grey matter. That brain is grey in color. Like you have the African grey parrot. That parrot speaks a lot too, compared to others. So this man has got a grey color brain. But that brain is able to produce such myriads of colors and such variety of colors, and through this brain man is able to detect such a vast spectrum of colors, the whole spectrum across, the color range. So who has given all of this ability to man? Allah Rabbul Izzat has given man this ability of recognizing these various colors and to be able to differentiate between the shades of the colors and which color to use where, what is the right color for the right occasion, for the right place, for the right background or the right medium, what color is to be used. This is that ability Allah Rabbul Izzat has given to insan, so that he may thereby recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and admire the greatness and qudrat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we continue that discussion, the story. Moulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi mentions that there was a certain person who owned a parrot and used to keep his parrot in the cage. And every being loves to be free. When Allah created all this creation of His, He created them free. However, for his amusement, man takes these birds and puts them into captivity, and it is not prohibited. I am not giving him masla that it is not allowed to keep birds or fish or any other pets. But the reality of the matter is, everyone loves freedom. Everyone wants to be free to do as they wish. They do not want to be subjugated by anyone. They do not want to be kept in captivity and restricted, especially the birds whom Allah has given the ability of flight. They can fly in the sky so high. So why should they be kept low on the ground in a confined space? But nevertheless, man keeps these animals in captivity for his amusement, as long as he fulfills their rights of feeding them and taking care of their needs, the biological needs in terms of if they need treatment, medication or whatever. Then he has taken that responsibility upon himself. He must now fulfill that responsibility. So here this person owned this parrot, and on one occasion he decided to travel overseas to some foreign country. So he asked all the servants in the house that, is there anything that I can do for you when I'm going overseas? So different people asked for different things. Then he came at the end to the parrot and he spoke to his parrot, and he told his parrot that I am now going overseas, I'll come back after a few weeks or a few months. What do you have to say? What do you wish for? So the parrot spoke and said to his master that I do not want anything, I do not desire anything that you should bring for me. But what I desire is you should give a message to my brothers, which that distant part of the world that you are going to travel. Go and give them a message and tell them that a certain brother of yours gives salam and he longs to meet you, he longs to be with you, he longs to fly in the jungle and the forest with you. But alas, he is a prisoner and he is in a cage and he is deprived of meeting his brothers and he is deprived of being in their company and enjoying to be with them and flying around with them and doing the things that they do. He is deprived of this. Moulana Rumi Rahmatullah Ali is a master of poetry, master of the words, and he puts it across in his very inimitable style of the speech of this parrot. The owner was actually moved by the speech of his parrot. He was affected by the words of this parrot. And he said, don't worry, I will fulfill the responsibility that you have given me. And so the owner travels to that distant land. And as he's traveling at a certain point, he sees a row of parrots sitting on a branch of a tree. So he stops and he addresses them and he speaks to them and he says to them, I convey to you the salam of your brother, my parrot in the cage. And he has expressed his wish to be with you people and to meet you and to visit you and to fly around with you. But he says that alas, he is in that cage and due to that captivity he is unable to meet you. So when he said these words, the parrots were also moved by this, that they began weeping. And in them, one parrot was so affected by the speech that he actually collapsed and fell off the branch of the tree onto the ground, almost as if it had died out of the grief and sorrow of the sad story of that brother parrot, the message that he sent from the cage. Nevertheless, the owner conveyed the message and he was astounded by what he saw happening. After a long journey, he returned home. He gave everybody whatever they wanted, they asked for. And then he came to the parrot and he greeted the parrot and conveyed the salam of those other parrots. The parrot asked him, okay, tell me what happened, what did my brothers have to say, what was their reaction when they heard my plea? So he says, I must tell you that your plea was so moving and touching that they began to cry. And not only that, but one parrot there even collapsed and fell down like he was dead. That was the effect your words had on your brothers. Hearing these words, this parrot that was in the cage also became very emotional and collapsed in the cage. And it dropped dead. So the owner was very grieved that what did I do? These words have had such an impact on my bird that it could not bear the grief of this exchange of words, and it has now died. So with grief he picks up this parrot, and now what to do with it? Obviously there isn't anything much to do. He takes it outside and he leaves it in the garden, and he leaves it there thinking that soon he will get the gardener to dig a hole, and they will place it inside the hole and cover it up, and that's the end of that bird. After all, it's just a bird. So he takes the parrot, he places it on the ground, and as he's returning home, he suddenly hears a sound behind him, so he looks and he sees to his utter astonishment that parrot woke up and it flew away. It flew away. And it flew onto the nearest branch of a tree that was there. So he was astounded that what happened? I thought it had died. But actually, it feigned death. It pretended to be dead. It acted as if it was dead. It put on an act. But in actual fact, it was just an act. And this parrot was living. And the parrot flew onto the tree branch. And then it addressed its owner. And it spoke to his owner and said, "Oh my owner, I have now gained my freedom. Now I'm a free bird. And now I will say farewell to you and goodbye to you with gratitude for all what favors you had shown to me. But nothing can compare to the enjoyment and the ecstasy and flavor of freedom. All the good food that you used to feed me was nothing in comparison to this blessing of freedom that I'm now enjoying. So today I'm a free bird. I shall now fly away from here and I shall go. But I want to leave you with a lesson. The lesson I learned, I want to convey that very lesson to you, so that you, my owner, can also learn that lesson." Subhanallah. What an ajib story. Now, the parrot speaks to the owner, and he says to the owner that, "You know, when you conveyed the message to me about my fellow birds and what happened, and you mentioned to me about the one bird that fell down as if it had died. In that was a lesson for me. It was actually my purpose for conveying the message to those birds was to seek some kind of direction or directive from them that what must I do? I am in a predicament. Show me a way how I can be freed from this predicament of mine." So that one parrot that fell down dead taught me the lesson that I supposed to have learned, that I also had to play dead. And when I played dead and I pretended and acted like I was dead, you realize that now I had to be taken out from the cage, and that became the means of my freedom. And here I am now, I'm a free bird. So he says to his master that I see you also in a cage. You are in an invisible cage, O my master. You are in the cage of the material things of the world that surround you. Your house, your car, your job, your family, your material things, your material needs. This is an invisible cage that is holding you. And you are a prisoner in this cage. And I wish that you should also become free like how I am free. And I want you also to learn from me the lesson of liberation and freedom. that do not become the slave of these material things, that they enslave you. So he says that master says to him, so okay, what should I do? He says, oh my master, you should also do what I did. And that is, I pretended like I was dead. In other words, I did not give preference to the things that you are offering me. And I chose a kind of a voluntary death from these blessings and bounties that you had on offer. And that became the means of my freedom. So you should also kill your desires. If your desires die within you, that is a form of death. And with the death of your desires, you become a free person. And you will be liberated and set free. So subhanallah, what an ajib lesson. Moulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi, he mentions the story of the parrot and the lessons that come out of this. That one hadith came to mind when I read this incident. And that incident is, the hadith is, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam has given advice, Mutu qabla an tamutu. Mutu qabla an tamutu. O people, do as if you are dead before you actually die. Die before you die. Now the ulama have explained this hadith. What is the meaning of dying before you die? They said the same meaning, that let your desires die off. Kill your desires. Let your desires die off. Let your cravings for all these things of this world and material things die off. In other words, only have that much desire which is permissible for the permissible things. That is all. Do not have any desire over and above that. Let those desires within you die. So it is as if you become like a dead person. It doesn't mean one must commit suicide, Allah forbid. That a person misunderstands this hadith and says that you must die before you die. So you go and kill yourself. No. What it means is just kill your unlawful desires. By killing your unlawful desires, it is as if you have died. By killing your unlawful aspirations, it is as if you have died. It is you have killed those things that are detrimental. And in the terminology of the Sufiya, what is the term that is used to describe this? One single word is used to describe this, and that is the state of fana'iyat. Fana'iyat. That parrot taught its owner the lesson of fana'iyat. Our Buzurgan-e-Deen use the term, they say, make fana of your ana. Make fana of your ana. What is ana? Ana is, in Arabic you say, I, me, me, referring to oneself. That is the ego. The selfish ego of man. That is that ego. That dangerous ego of man. So that is that ana. So the Buzurgan-e-Deen say that make fana of your ana. In other words, destroy your ana. Kill your ana. Do not have ana anymore. Make fana'iyat of your ananiyat. Destroy that fana of yours, that ana of yours, that ego of yours. Become a person who is selfless, a person who has no ego. And when you become like that, then it is the manifestation of that parrot, what he taught his master. It is the manifestation of this hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mutu qabla an tamutu. When the ana of man has become fana, then there's no arguments, there's no disputes, there's no quarrels, nothing. Because a dead person doesn't quarrel with anyone. A dead person does not fight with anyone. A dead person does not argue with anyone. So it is as if we have killed that ego. And when a person has killed the ego, then he has become liberated and freed. And with that goes all the Spiritual melodies goes. Once the ego has been killed, the spiritual melodies go with it. When Hazrat Musa alayhi salam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, show me the way how I can come close to you, how I can draw close to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Musa alayhi salam that, O Musa, to come close to me is very easy. It's just a 2-step process. 2 steps, and you are with me. And you are by me. Musa alayhi salam asked, Oh Allah, what are those 2 steps? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Musa alayhi salam, put 1 step on the nafs, and the next step is by me. That's finished. In other words, what does it mean, put a step on the nafs? Kill your ego. When your ego has been killed, and you have put your foot on your ego, in other words, you've crushed your ego. Now you are a non-entity, you are nobody. If anyone insults you, anyone belittles you, anyone mocks at you, anyone jeers at you, anyone criticizes you, anyone condemns you, it is as if he's condemning a dead person. There's no reaction from any dead person. You can swear at a dead person, you can scream at a dead person, you can laugh and mock at a dead person. What reaction do you get? Is there any reaction that you get from any dead person? So this is that mutu qabla an tamutu. Die before your death. In other words, reach that level of fana'iyat. Hazrat Moulana Rashid Ahmad Gangohi rahmatullah alayhi, one of our great elders. After a long time he wrote a letter to his Sheikh, Haji Imdadullah rahmatullah alayhi, and he told him, Hazrat, I feel embarrassed to write after such a long time, but the reality of my situation is that I have no situation. That is my situation. I perceive my condition as such that no criticism of anyone has any bearing on me. No praises of anyone has any bearing on me. The criticism and the praises of the people are equal in my eyes. Neither am I affected by the praises, nor am I affected by the criticism. For me, madhu thab, criticism and praise has become equal and it has become one. None of these things affect me because my gaze has moved away from all of these things. And my gaze is now only on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My gaze has moved away from makhluk and creation. And my gaze is permanently on Khaliq. Therefore, these things do not affect me at all. My halat and condition has become such that I have no halat and condition to write. But this is what, all I can say is my condition. Wassalam. And he sent the letter to his Shaykh. Hazrat Haji Sahib Rahmatullah Ali wrote a short reply to him. And he told him, Mubarak on acquiring the status of fana'iyat. Blessed are you that you have acquired now the state of fana. That state of fana, where the ana is gone, the ego is gone. When a person reaches that stage of fana, then with that will go hasad, kibr, takabbur, riya, and kina, and bughz, and all the spiritual melodies will go with that. Because now there is no ana left anymore. There is no ego left anymore. So therefore, all of the spiritual melodies depart with that. Our Hazrat Moulana Masihullah rahmatullah alayhi used to say sometimes in his majalis, how long you're going to treat one spiritual melody? You finish with this, then that one starts. You finish with that, and that one starts. You finish with this, and that starts. He says, but ek ko pakar lo. Catch hold of one, universal ilaj and cure. Fana'iyat ikhtiyar kar lo. Adopt fana'iyat, and all this ananiyat will go away automatically. Allah Rabbul Izzat through His fadl and karam grant us that fana'iyat. The essence of this very story of the parrot is the lesson of fana'iyat. The parrot made itself fana in front of its owner. And through that fana, it received what is called baqa. In other words, now it got its ultimate freedom. It came out of that cage and it was a free bird to fly where and how it wanted. So when we come out of the cage of ana, then insha'Allah, we will be like a bird flying in the Maidan of Baqa. Then none of these material things of this world will hold us down, and a person will be like how the dead people, when they leave this dunya, they go into Alam-e-Barzakh. Then it is not like how we picture that a dead person is lying fast asleep in his qabr, and he's like in a deep sleep, and he doesn't know what is going on around him. But those people are very much alive, and they have a different form of life. And the pious and righteous amongst them, they have such a wonderful life that Rasul Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned in some ahadith that the arwah of the mu'mineen is in the form of green birds that fly under the arsh of Allah, and that hang under the arsh of Allah and swing under the arsh, like how birds swing, and they fly around in the gardens of Jannah, and they have total freedom. They move around and fly around, and they enjoy all these beautiful sceneries that Allah Rabbul Izzat has created right till the day of Qiyamah. That is their halat and condition. So even that ruh of a mu'min has been personified in the form of a bird, which indicates that freedom, which indicates that height and flight. That is the ruh of a mu'min has been personified in that form, so that he can enjoy that freedom, because he kept himself restricted in the life of this dunya. Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min wa jannatul kafir. He kept himself as a prisoner in this dunya. He chose the captivity of this dunya. He was willing to stay in captivity in this dunya, so that he could be given the liberation and freedom of the akhirah. So Allah Ta'ala gives it to him in the form, such a liberation and freedom, that he gets wings, and he starts flying, and he flies under the arsh, and from one lantern to another lantern, and flying in the gardens of Jannah. And this is the hal of the mu'min, the beautiful condition of the believer till the day of Qiyamah. Allah Ta'ala through His fazl and karam, make us those fortunate believers that acquire the maqam of fana. Whilst in this world, whilst we are healthy and well, we acquire the darja and maqam of fana, so that we can be blessed with baqa, and then in the akhirah, we can be also those free birds, those arwah that have acquired their freedom, and they're flying under the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from lantern to lantern and branch to branch, and enjoying the amazing, beautiful hymns of the malaika under the arsh of Allah, and the beautiful lights and tajalliyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is on the arsh. And that is such a wonder that eternity can go past, and a person will not be able to encompass those wonders of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the beautiful melodies and the hymns and sounds of the zikr of the malaika and the tasbih of the malaika, and the beautiful lights and tajalliyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Awliya Allah, those who have acquired that ranks in this dunya, when they go to Baytullah, Allahu Akbar, they see certain lights at Baytullah, they see certain anwarat at Baytullah, they see as if there are clouds of different colors around Baytullah. Because of the purity of their heart, they already witnessed these things in this dunya. So you can imagine, if this is the effect of that on the earth, what it must be there at the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala itself. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His fazl and karam, grant us that closeness that we acquire, that ma'rifat that we acquire. And from this incident also, Moulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi draws 2-3 other lessons. One is the lesson of the benefit of mashwara. That bird, in actual fact, was seeking mashwara from its birds, and the effect of following that mashwara. And he also mentions the benefits of humility and fana'iyat, that when a person adopts humility, then that will give him that freedom that he's looking for. And also, we must learn from those who have already acquired the freedom around us, the Ahlullah, so that we can also acquire that freedom. Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq. Durood Sharif, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina wa Moulana Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina wa Moulana Muhammad wa barik wa sallim. مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم جزا الله عنا نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ما هو أهله. اللهم لك الحمد شكرا ولك المن فضلا. اللهم رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. يا إلهي يا أرحم الراحمين يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا حي يا قيوم. Ya Allah, grant us all these haqaiq and ma'arif, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we are like little toddlers, Ya Allah, in this great field of tasawwuf, where great giants have passed, Ya Allah, great personalities have passed. We are like those little infants and toddlers, Ya Allah, in this Maidan. But by the shan of your Kareemi, Ya Allah, you have granted it to the people of the past generations. Ya Allah, you can grant it to the people of this generation also. Through your fazl and karam, Ya Allah, what you granted to the awliya Allah of the past, grant it, Ya Allah, to your weak servants and sinful servants of today, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allah, those darajat of fana and baqa, fana'iyat and fana'ul fana and baqa'ul baqa, those high and lofty spiritual stages that were granted to your very beloved and chosen ones. We are not worthy and deserving of these things, Ya Allah. We are in the golden cages of materialism, and we are bound, Ya Allah, by these chains and bars of the material things of this world. Ilah al-Alameen, grant us liberation and freedom, Ya Allah. Liberate us from these cages and these chains that hold us down. Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, grant us true ruhaniyat, grant us true spirituality. Ya Ilah al-Alameen, Ya Allah, turn our gazes away from, Ya Allah, the golden cage of dunya. And Ya Allah, incline us, Ya Allah, in the direction of the eternal liberation and freedom of Akhirat, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Ya Allah, make us also like those birds, Ya Allah, that fly high in the sky of your ma'rifat, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, and your recognition. Just as the fish swim deep in the oceans of ma'rifat, like that, Ya Allah, make us like those fish that swim deep in the oceans of ma'rifat, and make us like those birds that fly high in the sky of ma'rifat and your recognition. Ya Ilah al-Alameen, Ya Allah, shower your special mercies upon the ruh of Moulana Jalaluddin Rumi rahmatullah alayhi, and the ruh of arwah of our mashayikh, especially our Shaykh al-Mashayikh, Hazrat Shah, Hakeem, Akhtar Sahib rahmatullah alayhi. Ya Allah, who was Rumi Asani of his time, Ya Allah, and the beautiful lessons that he imparted from the words and writings of Jalaluddin Rumi rahmatullah alayhi. Ya Ilah al-Alameen, grant us these realities, grant us these haqaiq. Ya Allah, let our life in this world not be one that is confined only to the material comforts and luxuries of this world. Ya Allah, that we just eating to live and living to eat, like the existence of animals, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. But grant us the true liberation and freedom from the material alaiq of this dunya, and grant us that freedom, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Ya Allah, grant us your true ma'rifat, grant us your muhabbat, grant us true ruhaniyat, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, grant us true ruhaniyat, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Ya Allah, make the ruhani ghiza and the ruhani, Ya Allah, the ruhani nutrition and the ruhani, Ya Allah, the ruhani food and the ruhani delicacies, make it, Ya Allah, so enjoyable and so delicious for us that we disincline from all the material things, and Ya Allah, we forage on all these ruhani delicacies, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen. Ya Allah, your beloved Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has referred to your zikr as the gardens of Jannah to be foraged upon. إِذَا مَرَرْتُمْ بِرِيَادِ الْجَنَّةِ فَارْتَعُوا. Ya Allah, grant us to forage, Ya Allah, on the zikr and your remembrance and the tilawat of Quran. Ya Allah, and all the a'mal salihah, make this so enjoyable and palatable to us that it is more tasty than the tastiest dish that we have eaten. The most delicious, make it more delicious than the most delicious drink that we have drank. Ya Allah, and make ma'asiyat and kufr and shirk and nifaq and shiqaq and su'e akhlaq and amal sayyi'ah, make it so detestable to us like how we would detest filth and dirt and evil and filthy smelling things, how we would be repulsed by these things. Ya Allah, make ma'asiyat also repulsive to us in that manner. Ya Allah, grant us your nisbat. Ya Allah, grant us your connection. Ya Allah, draw us close to you. Ya Allah, even if we try to run far away from you, pull us back with the rope of your rahmat and mercy, and draw us close to you with the power of your jazb, Ya Allah. Through your power of jazb, Ya Allah, draw us close to you, Ya Allah. We do not have the power to reach you. We cannot come anywhere near you if you do not allow us near you. Ya Allah, pull us towards you. Draw us close to you through the power of your jazb, Ya Arhamar Rahimi. Ya Allah, we only have words and alfaz. Ya Allah, put reality and haqiqat into these alfaz. Make these words into realities and haqaiq. Let it not just remain words, Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Make these words come into reality through your karam and your ihsan. Ya Rahim, Ya Kareem. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله على النبي الكريم وعلى آله